Welcome back to my YouTube channel. You get an architectural masterpiece. You get the Rustic Modern Dogtrot house. Today, we are embarking on an in-depth design masterclass. We are going to explore how one of the oldest, most utilitarian architectural layouts in American history, the Dogtrot cabin, has become the ultimate canvas for this breathtaking design fusion. By splitting a home into two distinct pavilions connected by an open-air breezeway, the Dogtrot already demands our attention. If you are captivated by design that feels deeply rooted in nature, we will dissect the materials, the spatial psychology, and the interior details that make this style so incredibly compelling. Let us step onto the breezeway and explore the harmony of rustic meets modern. In a Dogtrot home, this philosophy finds its perfect structural match. The Dogtrot is inherently rustic in its layout. It was born out of survival, designed by early pioneers to passively cool their living spaces before the invention of electricity. But its shape, two clean geometric boxes connected by a void, is inherently modern. It is a naturally minimalist silhouette. The goal of rustic modernism is to curate materials that age gracefully. We want materials that tell a story. Wood that has survived a century of weather, stone that was pulled directly from the earth, and steel that is allowed to oxidize and change color over time. But we want these wild, untamed materials to be installed with absolute, laser-measured precision. It is the control of the wild, the framing of the organic. This tension is what makes the home feel incredibly warm and inviting, yet undeniably sophisticated and sharp. The exterior of a rustic modern Dogtrot must serve as both a protective armor against the elements and a visual love letter to the surrounding landscape. To achieve this, designers are turning to two primary materials that perfectly bridge the gap between old-world grit and modern sleekness: Corten steel and Shou Sugi Ban timber. Corten, or weathering steel, is a modern metallurgical marvel. When exposed to the weather, it intentionally develops a stable, oxidized rust layer on its surface. This rust isn't a sign of decay. It is a protective shield that prevents further corrosion. Visually, Corten is breathtaking. It transforms the strict, sharp geometry of modern metal siding into a rich, organic tapestry of burnt orange, deep brown, and copper. It makes the house look as though it has been standing in the forest for decades, perfectly blending with the autumn leaves and the earth. To contrast the bright rust of the Corten, the opposing pavilion of the Dogtrot is often clad in Shou Sugi Ban. This is an ancient Japanese technique of preserving wood by aggressively charring its surface with fire. The fire burns away the soft cellulose, leaving behind a hardened, carbonized layer that is highly resistant to rot, insects, and even future fires. The resulting aesthetic is a deep, matte, velvet-like black with a profound, crackled texture. When you place the vibrant rust of the steel next to the pitch-black charred wood under the sharp, unbroken line of a modern metal roof, the house becomes a bold, striking piece of contemporary sculpture that still feels deeply rooted in nature. The defining feature of any Dogtrot is the trot, the open-air corridor that connects the two enclosed cabins. Historically, this was just a dirt or rough plank pathway where the dogs would sleep in the shade. In a rustic modern design, the breezeway is elevated into the most spectacular architectural feature of the home. It is the ultimate transitional space, the threshold where the indoors and outdoors completely dissolve into one another. To modernize the breezeway, designers start with the floor. Instead of using traditional wooden decking, which can feel too rustic, the floor is poured as a massive, seamless slab of architectural concrete. This concrete is heavily polished until it gleams, exposing the subtle organic aggregate stones beneath the surface. It is incredibly durable, cool to the touch in the summer, and can be outfitted with hydronic radiant heating to melt snow in the winter. But the true magic lies in the walls facing the breezeway. In a traditional Dogtrot, these walls were solid logs with small doors. In the modern iteration, these inner walls are completely replaced by floor-to-ceiling multi-panel sliding glass doors.
Using cutting-edge engineering, these glass walls are designed to slide entirely into hidden wall pockets. When the weather is beautiful, you can open both cabins completely to the trot. The kitchen, the living room, and the outdoor breezeway merge into one massive, continuous entertainment space. The heavy, raw timber ceiling above provides the rustic shelter, while the invisible glass and polished concrete provide the modern luxury.
When we cross the breezeway and enter the primary living pavilion, the challenge is to make a large vaulted space feel intimately cozy without cluttering the clean lines of modernism. The living room is the space where the contrast of our two design styles is most acutely felt. The modern architectural element is provided by the sheer volume of the room. The ceiling is vaulted, completely removing the attic space, allowing the eye to travel all the way up to the apex of the roof. Large, unmullioned picture windows are punched into the walls, acting as crisp, black-framed portals to the forest outside. The walls themselves are kept perfectly smooth and painted in a gallery white or a soft, moody charcoal to act as a quiet backdrop. Against this clean, modern envelope, the rustic elements are introduced as massive, tactile focal points. The ceiling might be lined with warm tongue-and-groove cedar. The structural beams crossing the room are not hidden, they are showcased. But instead of standard lumber, designers use massive, tactile focal points. The ceiling might be lined with warm tongue-and-groove cedar. The structural beams crossing the room are not hidden, they are showcased. But instead of standard lumber, designers use massive, reclaimed hand-hewn timbers salvaged from 19th century barns. You can still see the original axe marks in the wood. The heating source is a prime example of this fusion. Instead of a traditional heavy stone masonry fireplace, the room features a sleek, suspended, rotating wood stove made of matte black spun steel, like the iconic suspended fireplaces from the 1960s. It hangs from the rustic wooden ceiling like a piece of modern art, providing the primal, rustic comfort of a crackling wood fire, but delivered in an incredibly sleek, contemporary package. The kitchen in a rustic modern Dogtrot is not just a place to prepare food, it is a culinary workshop. It must be highly functional, brutally durable, and visually breathtaking. To achieve this, the design heavily leans into industrial materials paired with warm, historic textures. The cabinetry is kept strictly modern. Shaker-style doors are often abandoned in favor of flat-panel, handleless cabinets in matte black, deep forest green, or natural white oak. This creates a clean, monolithic block of color that grounds the room. For the countertops, highly polished granites are rejected because they feel too sterile and glossy. Instead, designers use honed soapstone or leathered absolute black granite. These stones have a matte, chalky, deeply tactile surface that feels incredibly organic and ages beautifully, developing a natural patina over time. To inject the rustic soul into the kitchen, the concept of upper cabinets is completely eliminated. Upper cabinets visually shrink a room and feel heavy. In their place, massive floating shelves made from thick cuts of reclaimed timber are mounted directly to the wall. The heavy, scarred wood provides an incredible contrast against the smooth, modern backsplash. These shelves are used to display everyday items, stacks of handmade ceramic plates, cast iron skillets, and glass jars of ingredients. It brings a sense of farmhouse accessibility and warmth to a space that is otherwise driven by state-of-the-art modern appliances.